So, Cat Power is a great name, by the way.
Well, it comes from an old engine company in America that's called Cat Diesel Power. It was an engine, a diesel engine, and then Caterpillar bought the company in the 90s. So now you'll never see Cat Diesel anymore. Sometimes you'll see the cat, but it stands for Caterpillar.
So nothing to do with cats.
People power. But I didn't know that until I got older.
So you finally made it to be on tour here in Europe. A lot of people were waiting for you last year. What happened?
I was 2 days before. It's the same thing that happened when The Greatest came out. Didn't realize I was suffering from they call it exhaustion when you reach a point of exhaustion. But I was past that point during The Greatest thing, and so I kept trying to keep working and everything. And I didn't sleep for, I don't know, maybe a week or something. And all I was doing was working, and I had a psychotic break. You know, they say you'll go crazy if you don't sleep because you can't process your subconscious. It starts taking, your dreams start becoming a reality kind of thing.
Okay.
And then, so when I got out of there on the 11th day, and
how did that happen? I mean,
work. I don't have a manager. I still don't. And at the time, I had just a lot of work.
In a psychotic break.
Yeah. So I was really tired and really stressed out. It comes on by stress, right? And I was younger, so my physical body, could handle the stress. But this time, years later, after all the work, I was able-minded, right? But my body was weak because I was older, so my body broke down. And it was, I had some things happen in my personal life, and all the work combined, something happened with my family that was really intense. And I had to very quickly do a lot of strategy between different things to get certain things safe. And I think that was just like the cherry, the few cherries right on the top. And then I woke up, couldn't breathe, and found out that all these doctors, different, whatever. So for this, 2 days after Sun came out, I was in Beverly Hills intensive care unit for 3 days, and they'd bring all these, doctors and people. They didn't know what was wrong with me. And then, they had all the tubes, and they told me they had to put me in a coma to save my lungs. And that's when I made sure that I didn't want anything to, faking, like, yeah, I can breathe. I can't even talk because everything's so swollen. But I'm like, acting alert because I was afraid that if they put me in a coma, that I might lose consciousness. I'm allergic to everything. I've always had a poor immune system since I was little. So I was afraid that if anything happened to me while I was under, so I said my lungs for me or for lungs for someone else. So that's when I was like fighting. And so I went in and out of the hospital 8 times, and it was, I had a piece of paper, I had everything written down, and I had to show it to the ambulance guy because a lot of times, because I only have a certain amount of time, and then it closes up and then you can die or whatever. So through all the therapy, the homeopathic, the Reiki and the different things that I was doing, acupuncture and all that stuff. The last time it was in Toronto, and I had to cancel my tour because my life is really important to me, and because of what happened with The Greatest, and everyone thought, oh well, she's an alcoholic and she's crazy and all this other stuff. Don't say it's because you're sick.
Did you at one point decide to be so open about this also?
Well, I decided that I'd already been in fear when I was in the mental ward, when I was stressed out and had the psychotic break, which was the most horrifying. I thought I knew what horrifying was until I was in there. And that was the most horrifying thing I've ever experienced. Being taken away from your rights, being a psychotic break where you don't even know your name, and you don't even know who you are, where you are. You don't recognize people that you've known for 20 years. that psychotic break was the most horrifying thing I'd experienced at that point in my life. But then, like 15 years later, or however many years, this is 20, however what it's 34. So then I'm 41, 40, and then I got a tube in my throat, and I'm in the intensive care unit with doctors coming on different shifts, saying they don't know what's wrong with me, and thinking that at any minute, when I'm out of the hospital, that at any minute that I'm gonna die. So then there's that, and then so overcoming that, then I'm wondering, well, what should I be afraid of now?
To go back a little bit,
Sorry.
I would love to know what music you actually grew up with.
Everything. When I lived, I didn't see my mom and dad. My mom left, I think I was 6 months, and I never saw my dad until I met my mom and dad. I was like 4, and then I've never told anybody that on camera or in an interview. And you're mad at me, but I'm not mad at myself. But yeah, so I grew up around my grandmother and singing to me, and like when she bathed me in the sink, and she'd sing like hymns or country music or, songs that were contemporary for her growing up in the South. She'd sing those songs, and then when I met my mom and dad, I would hear things in the car, or we lived with this band in Atlanta called Mother's Finest. A lot of DJ records, at that time in the 70s, like, things they play at the disco, so I heard all that stuff. And then I heard, my dad's bands and, all that, rock and roll. And then those records, the pre-date rock and roll, where it comes from, Muddy Waters, everything, the Stone, all the pre-stuff, the Billie Holiday, everything, Billie Holiday, Buddy Holly, all this stuff. Otis, all the other stuff. And then when I was like 13, listened to the radio, or 12, MTV came on. I'm like, what's rap? What's this? Because I'd already heard Sugar Hill Gang. I said a hip hop, a hip blah blah. Anyway, I loved it. Roller skating all the time. That's all I did, because I was always the new kid. Every new school, I just wanted to go. I'd go to the roller skating rink by myself, because that's what I do at the park when I was a little kid in my underwear. My mom had an afro. Like, I thought I was one of those dudes who were going around the cone, in those little shorts with the eyeglasses, and the tape deck or whatever. And so I love roller skating, and I love, like funk music and stuff. And then I heard on the radio, I heard a Black Flag. I heard it was like a radio channel that wouldn't cut. Oh, that band the first video I ever saw on MTV was The Message by he's saying the message, the message,
The song?
Don't push me, 'cause I'm close to the Grandmaster Flash. That was the first video I ever saw. And where it's filmed, it's filmed in these buildings that are just like, and that was the first video I ever saw on MTV. So the second video I saw was X, Hungry Wolf, and then I think it was Madonna was the next one. It was wasn't like a Virgin, it was another one. It was Lucky Star, I think. But I've been doing this with the radio, so then it was like Black Flag, REM, Corrosion of Conformity, Slayer, Minor Threat, all that. And then, so then it started to, so it's like music was always around, and I think it's very typical of people who are, my parents were young, so typical of people who grew up in that sort of, lifestyle, who didn't go to Berkeley or Yale, parents that were around during that movement, Vietnam time.
So your father also being a musician, did he support your...
My stepdad was also a musician. My stepdad was much more supportive, even though I never wanted to be a musician, but he was just, in his underwear, playing like imagining in his mind with a sombrero on his head, imagining that he's doing like an Eric Clapton solo, which he's not, you know. But my dad, no, because he's a performer, so my stepdad wasn't, you know. So that was my dad's area. He did get me a Mr. Microphone when I was, I think, 5. But
what's a Mr. Microphone?
It just looks like that, but it's a round orange thing. It has a cord that goes to, you can plug it into a radio, you know. And my grandmother used to tape record me singing when I was little. She'd make me sing all these songs for her. And my sister would always sing Yesterday, and then she'd sing Tomorrow, and I was always like, boring. So my favorite song was The Gambler. And you got no, and I have the cassette. It's like, you got no in hold on, no in to fall down, no in to walk away, no in to run. But then when I moved to New York and shit happened and my friends were ODing and dying and HIV and all this shit and stuff, I moved to New York with a friend of mine, and I didn't know that I was going to be a musician. I wanted to be a baker.
A baker?
I wanted to be a baker. I wanted to be a painter. I wanted to get the fuck out of the South. I'm losing my brain. I'm losing my mind.
And there were times when it was especially hard for you to be on stage. In the beginning.
Because it was different. Because it used to be okay if I had my back to the audience, because that's how that was comfortable, right? It was comfortable. That was comfortable for me, but it's not comfortable for everybody else. So you have to do what everybody else wants. Okay, like, because I was like so, like, you know, as I grew up, you know, the period between like, say 7 and, you know, till I was about 27, you know, even, yeah, I was very different than I am now. I'm older now. You learn things when you're older through life experience, seeing the world, meeting people from all kinds of, you know, situations. Mama, you got the blue jean jacket? You mad at me? You want it? It just got chilly.
But what drew you to the music and to the stage?
My friend Glenn. I didn't have friends. I had one friend. I had met another friend. You know, the longer I stayed, I met more people, more friends. But he was my friend, you know. And he was like my trusted, like, father, brother, uncle, friend, father figure, older than me. Someone I trusted, you know. And he was working at Yeshiva Law School for the director, the president of the Yeshiva Law School. Super smart, you know.
Because the usual story you would always expect, well, most of the time is true, that somebody really wants to be on stage. And
well, when you grow up with your dad, you know,
as a child as well.
Well, you see, you know, I saw my dad. I wanted to be a painter, you know. I wanted to be a painter or a writer. I used to want to be like a war photographer or a prima ballerina, but I never took ballet. Or a first female conductor, but now they have them. Or I wanted to like be an inventor. Or I wanted to be a painter, or a crime writer, a psychological crime writer. But and I just sang all the time anyway at school. I used to always go to these different schools all the time, and the best place to sing is physical education. When you change your clothes, I was so shy about my body because of other shit that I'm not going to get into. But so I'd always wait till everyone left. And then I'd change and relax, and I always sing, because all those rooms with the showers, they're always tiled. So it has the most amazing reverb. If you ever know about me, I'm always screaming, more reverb! So now everybody can figure out why I like to hear reverb when I sing. Because it's like ominous, and it really can take you away from that. Whatever, but the only people that ever heard me were the girls coming in to do practice or for basketball or sports or whatever, and they were always the African American girls. They'd always bust me at every school, and I'd be like, oh, whatever school. But they grew an affinity for me because they would always come to expect it, and they'd, you know, I remember at the time one of the songs that I would sing, because I'd seen that movie, Spielberg movie Color Purple, and I was a huge fan of like blues, and I loved Billie Holiday so much. And there's this character in that movie, Suge, who sings this amazing song, and God is trying to tell you something, and sister, and all that stuff. So during that period, I remember they would come and ask me to sing for them. That was really fun. So that was probably the first time I performed.
It always seems like when you're talking, and also sometimes when you're singing, and sometimes it's even if it's not a real whisper, it seems like you're whispering, and seems like you're reliving moments all the time. Is that something
it's reality. I don't like fabrication. I think there's one song that I made up called Water and Air, but maybe that's from a past life. But I'm the kind of person that I love a beat, I love a beat, I love a beat, I love a beat. And I like goofy, silly lyrics if the melody is catchy or something, you know? But I don't like listening to a song over and over and over and over unless it penetrates something deeper than my intellect, you know, or something deeper than my groove body, you know, and that's why you know what I mean? It's like music is like the translator, the great translator, you know, you can meet a stranger and a war is going to happen, but maybe, you know, that's...
the time you finished Sun, you separated from your boyfriend.
Yeah, it was 3. I had to go mix final versions. I had 2 weeks. I had 3 weeks. 2 weeks. Again, 3 weeks. Sorry. I had 3 weeks. Again, just like the last time. And I remember I laid on the couch for about 3 days. I would get up to pee. And I was just like comatose, like in a half-sleep state. 3 days. I had no energy. It felt like I had gotten severely beaten up. Like I felt like I was... I felt like I had no soul. I felt empty, like a empty... something empty. Hello, I can hear you. And do you hear them? They're like a little something come closer. She nodded her head yes, by the way. And is it a kitty cat? Actually, it was Paris, was the first journalist. I said, so this record's about your breakup. And I wanted to punch him in his face.
No, it's not. That's what I meant. It seems...
No, it's not. How could I narrow myself down to be so small, that my life would revolve and my whole being would... Yeah, I'm not that small. Can we just really quickly mention that the concentration camps that Dick Cheney, in 1997, the U.S.
Maybe we'll stop that and then see if it's rolling. Okay, let me know what is really important to you.
Yeah, well, today, the past week, past 5 days, it's on my Instagram, and I've been tweeting about it, but nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody I've met, from airports to hotels to taxi drivers to friends, nobody knows what I'm talking about, hasn't heard about it, except my friends it was started with Istanbul, except my friends in Istanbul, which led me to discover my friend, journalist, William Van Meter, journalist from New York, sent me the link about Greece, how they're have concentration camps currently in Greece, locking up people or sending them on trains, and they're using that word. I'm not using that word, concentration camp. They are, and because I had because I paid for the Wi-Fi on the plane, I found, I'm going to put it on Instagram. Whenever I put that on Instagram, I get maybe 60 likes. When I put a picture of my face, I get maybe 800 likes. So I've been searching for more, learning about the ones in America. 800, 2011, FEMA confirmed that there are 800 concentration camps that Dick Cheney's company, Halliburton, have in America, in the United States. There's one in Glendale. Again,
that have seen them?
Yeah, you can look, you can search, and you can find it. And that's what I keep saying on the Twitter and everything, and people don't want to know. So then I started digging, and today I found U.S. Congress passed in 1997 confirmation for the contract to go through, for for them to begin building the facilities, the internment camps.
Yeah, what do they call them? Internment camps?
Well, on paper they got to make up some special word for 9/11. Terrorist. But you can look on the internet and you'll find it.